My 5-year-old drew a picture of our family, then whispered, "This is the secret one Daddy keeps in his office." Ella held up her crayon drawing showing 4 stick figures, me, her, Daddy, and a woman with yellow hair I didn't recognize. My daughter pointed to the mystery woman and said that's Miss Angela, who visits Daddy at work and gives her candy when Mommy's not there. My blood went cold. I worked part-time and thought Mark took Ella to daycare on my office days, but apparently she'd been spending time at his workplace meeting this Angela. Ella said Angela had a special drawer in Daddy's desk with toys just for her, and they played games while Daddy worked. Sometimes Angela would braid her hair and paint her nails pink. She'd been told it was their special secret because Mommy would be jealous of how much fun they had. My 5-year-old had been coached to lie to me. That evening, I checked our daycare billing online and discovered we'd been charged for only 2 days a week for the past 4 months, not 3. Mark had been pocketing the extra daycare money while taking our daughter to his office every Wednesday. I found receipts in his car for children's toys and nail polish I'd never seen, plus restaurant charges for 3 people, always on Wednesdays. The next Wednesday, I drove to Mark's office without telling him. The receptionist looked panicked when I said I was surprising my husband. Through his office glass door, I saw Ella on the floor playing with dolls while a blonde woman sat at Mark's desk using his computer. They were laughing at something on the screen. Mark was nowhere to be seen. The woman jumped when I opened the door. Ella ran to me excited, saying, "Mommy, you can meet Miss Angela now." Angela stood up wearing my husband's college sweatshirt, the one I'd been looking for. She was maybe 25, pretty, with expensive jewelry. Ella grabbed my hand, showing me Angela's toy drawer, oblivious to the tension. Mark appeared holding coffee and froze when he saw me. He started explaining that Angela was his new assistant helping with Ella on busy days. But I noticed how Angela looked at him, how comfortable she was in his office. This wasn't just an assistant helping with childcare. I picked up Ella and told her we were leaving. She started crying, wanting to stay with Miss Angela. Angela actually told Ella she'd see her next week, and I snapped. I told her there wouldn't be a next week, that she wouldn't see my daughter again. Mark followed us to the parking lot, saying I was overreacting. I asked why it was secret then. Why lie about daycare? Why tell our 5-year-old to keep secrets from me? That night, after Ella was asleep, I went through Mark's phone. The text with Angela went back 6 months, starting professional, then flirty, then explicit. There were photos that made me sick. The worst part was messages about Ella, Angela calling her our little princess, and Mark agreeing. They'd been playing house with my daughter while I was at work. I confronted Mark with everything. He tried minimizing it, claiming nothing physical happened. Then I showed him a hotel charge from last month when he'd supposedly been at a conference. He finally admitted they'd been sleeping together for 4 months, right when Ella's daddy office days started. The next morning, I called a lawyer and Mark's HR department. Using your child to facilitate an affair with a subordinate was grounds for termination. By afternoon, both Mark and Angela were suspended. Angela tried calling to explain she really loved Ella, as if that made using my child as a prop acceptable. I threatened a restraining order if she came near my daughter again. Ella kept asking when she could see Miss Angela. She didn't understand why her special friend was gone or why Daddy was sleeping at Grandma's. We started therapy to help her understand appropriate boundaries. The therapist said Ella had been essentially groomed to accept this secret relationship as normal, which made me physically ill. The divorce was brutal. Mark fought for custody, arguing that Ella preferred Angela to me. The judge wasn't impressed by a father who used his child to facilitate adultery. I got primary custody with Mark having only supervised visitation. The court banned Angela from any interactions with Ella and ordered Mark to pay for therapy. 6 months later, Ella drew another family picture at school, just me and her in front of our new apartment with big smiles. Her teacher said she'd stopped talking about Miss Angela. Mark married Angela last month according to mutual friends. They're expecting a baby, starting their real family now. I kept that original drawing that exposed everything. Sometimes I look at it and feel grateful for my daughter's innocent honesty. If she hadn't drawn that picture, hadn't whispered about Daddy's secret, I might have spent years in ignorance while Mark and Angela played out their fantasy using my child as a supporting character. Now Ella and I are building our own life, with no secrets and no mysterious women hiding in Daddy's office.